I got my brother-in-law. I got my other brother-in-law too. I'm happy to see him on as well. And we're talking about seven-figure mindset and seven-figure work ethic. And this is Ferris Fennoy. Call him Nard, and we'll go in from him.
What's going on, everybody? Prince, look, man, look, look, man, Prince. Thank you so much for the invite. I feel like I'm amongst family, especially being down there and getting a chance to meet the pastor and everything. So first of all, I want to say thank you all so much for this invite, and I take it as an honor and a privilege to go through and actually just kind of share a little bit about myself, kind of giving that mindset as well. Just like Prince said, just a little bit about myself. My name is Ferris Fennoy. My friends call me Nard. Most people call me Nard. I've been called worse in the past, but I go with Nardy the Ferris. But just a little bit of backstory about who I am, and just kind of where we're going with this. Just a quick backstory. I'm the oldest son, the third child of my mother and father. My mother was a single parent of six children, raised six children single-handedly. I still don't see how she did it to this day. My wife and I only have two children, a 5-month-old and a 4-year-old. And I'm like, what in the world did we get ourselves into? Of course, my 5-month-old is right here on the floor, actually taking a nap. So hopefully he doesn't wake up during this presentation. But been raised by a single parent. I've been blessed to get a chance to serve in the military. I served 6 years in the United States Air Force. I worked for the Chick-fil-A Corporation. While in the Air Force, I was talking to my brothers. My brothers had started a home health agency and invited me to come in and actually just started working with them. And of course, my first outlook was like, oh my gosh, here we go with this family business thing. And I was like, what in the world am I getting myself into? But when anything I do it with the seriousness of impact. And so I came in, talked to them. We came up with a plan to say, you know what, we're going to be the best home care agency, not only in Georgia, not only in the region, but we're going to be the best home care agency in the United States. And that's something that we're still striving to achieve as well. We are one of the largest home care agencies. Actually, we are the fastest growing structured family home care agency in Georgia. And we are one of the largest home care agencies in Georgia. And we are expanding to other states as we speak right now. But I said all that to say this. When Prince and I, we talk often, very often, and we always talk about the mindset. We always talk about kind of just, because this is where it starts. Success never starts from the outside in. It starts always from the inside out. And so one thing that have always stuck with me is I truly believe in the authority that God has given me. And when I say I believe in it, it's unshakable. And that's one thing I just want to encourage each one of you all on tonight is the authority. We have to start walking in authority. Once I actually thought about during this 2020 season, 2020 has been detrimental for some people, has been a blessing for others as well. But the authority that we walk in, again, when you have authority, and I looked up the word authority. Authority is actually the power or the right to give orders, to make decisions, and enforce obedience. Again, it's the power to give right, enforce, and to give power, the power to give or enforce rights and make decisions. And that's one thing I've always wanted to do. And my way of actually walking in my authority has always been entrepreneurship. I've served in several organizations, served several jobs, but I knew that if I wanted to have the authority that I was destined to walk into, I had to really get into entrepreneurship. Fortunately, I was blessed to be a part of a team. My brothers actually saw the work ethic that I had. And again, authority, it doesn't come from just you speaking and saying, I have authority. It's some work behind that. And you have to think about it as in a kingdom. The kingdom, what goes on in the kingdom, what the king says is the final authority. You are the king. You actually have dominion over your life. What you say gives you the final authority to where your outcome will come. That's one thing that I live that daily. I watch what I speak because I know I have the final authority when it comes to actually what I have to go through, what my full potential will be realized. And so when it comes to authority, first of all, you have to believe it. And when you believe something, your actions follow. You can't say you believe and you have authority and you sleep 24 hours a day. You can't say you have authority and you don't invest in yourself. You can't say you have authority and the last time you picked up a book was when you were in the 12th grade or whatever. You cannot say you have authority if your actions don't follow. That's one thing when you walk in authority, that's when power and dominion come. Again, I can't say that I'm a power lifter if I have never lifted any weights. Authority doesn't come just because I said it. It's because I put the work in. Work, work, work. And that's one thing a lot of people are afraid to do is work. One thing I tell Prince all the time, I will outwork I'm gonna outwork anybody. And it's not because I just enjoy going to work. It's because I know the authority that I have. I know that it's my destiny to go through and actually change my lineage. I take pride, and I'm very proud to go through and see that the work that I'm doing is breaking the generational curses. The work that I'm doing is breaking the chains that actually held my forefathers back. And that's one thing, when I walk in authority, I walk in the authority that my foreparents gave me, the ones that they may not have had the opportunity that I have. So I will not go through and just say, you know what, cast aside these opportunities that I may have. I did not let 2020 COVID-19 go through and actually distract me from the authority that I had. So many times people go through and actually let circumstances and situations distract them from the mission, from the authority. If you're operating in the kingdom, what you say is the final authority. That's one thing. It's not what anybody from the left or the right says. It's what you say is the final authority. That's what dominion comes in. If you have dominion, you are, it's just like right now, most of you all probably have pets or whatever. You don't let your pets run the house. You have dominion over your house. But it's sad when you can have dominion over a pet, but you can't have dominion over your finances. It's sad when you can have dominion over your pet, but you can't have dominion over what you do on a day-to-day basis. God has given everyone the chance and the opportunity to go through and have dominion. And that's what he calls us to. He calls us to dominion, not to go through and actually take names, not to go through and just play around. He calls us to go through and take names and dominate. I know Prince was talking about just how you work. And that's one thing my brothers and we always had that mindset is like, hold up, we didn't come to go through and actually play games. We came to take over. And if you're going to work hard, you're going to go. And my thing is, I don't go in business to go through and put people out of business. I go in business to go through and be the best that I can be. I go in business to dominate. But if the byproduct of you going, if you is going out of business, if that's the byproduct of me dominating, that's just the byproduct. And I cannot apologize for that. The only thing I can go through and say is you better get up and you better work. You better go through and read a little bit more. You better study. You better know your craft. You better be the best, because guess what? If you're not, I'm coming for you. And that's with anything. My thing is, when it comes to the authority that we walk in, the authority we walk in, God has given us the authority. We have to go through and speak the authority. Once we speak it, we go through and organize it. The Bible says go through and write the vision and make it plain. So that's what we do. You go through and write the vision. My brother Caleb and I, he's on right now. Every year since 2018, we've been writing a vivid vision. We've been writing what we will see next year, what we will see in the next 3 years, what we will see in the next 5 years. And believe it or not, everything, COVID-19 could not stop what we put on paper. COVID-19 could not stop what was already predestined. It didn't go through and shape the way we wanted to go through and shape, but every last goal that we put down last year, it was accomplished plus some this year. That's what authority does. Authority doesn't worry about what's going on out here in the atmosphere. And authority doesn't worry about what's going on in the world. Authority is the dominion. It's the power that you have. You speak it, you do it, and you work. My work did not stop just because COVID-19 had happened. So many times in business, even in business right now, a lot of people, they said, oh, my Lord, COVID-19, I have to close my door. I got to do this. No. Now it's time for creativity. What else can you do? What didn't you do when COVID-19 wasn't here that you should have done, that you should have positioned yourself for, so that you can go through and actually take advantage of the overflow? That's one thing that we did as well. After you go through and speak and you organize, you go through and deploy just like Jesus had 12 disciples, he deployed them into several areas to go through and dominate. He didn't come to go through and say, I'm just going to chill out in Jerusalem. He did it to go through and dominate. Those 12 touch other 12. That's the mission right there, even in business. Our goal is not to go through and say, you know what, for the next 30 years, Ferris and Caleb, we're going to go through and work. No, our goal is to make disciples, get employees, get team members, get other people that are fired up about what you do so they can go through and spread the word. That's another thing, is deploying those members. And last thing, once you go through and speak it, organize, and deploy members, that's when it's time to dominate. That's when it's time you have dominion over the land, over the kingdom that you have been given to. And that's one thing, is once you go through and start having dominion, it's going to be a lot of arrows that's going to come your way. It's going to be a lot of accusations. It's going to be a lot of naysayers. It's going to be a lot of Twitter fingers that's going on. But guess what? It doesn't matter, because when you operate in the kingdom is yours. And when you operate in the kingdom that's yours, no one can go through and stop you as well. So I just want to leave you all with that on tonight as well. The encouragement is, hey, we done had enough of motivation, positive talk. Now it's time to take off the boots, take off the gloves, and dominate. Once if you cannot go through and change your mind right now, what's going to change in 2021? Forget the New Year's goals and the resolution. You change it on tonight to start dominating on tonight so that tomorrow, guess what? You're dominating, you're walking in your kingdom. And that's one thing that God is calling us to do. He's not calling us to go through and say, you know, over the next 30 years, we're going to go through and we're going to pray and pray and pray. You pray one time about it. And if you believe it enough, you walk in that authority and you keep going. So again, Prince, I really appreciate the opportunity on the night, man. I really just I think we're in a group of a lot of winners on tonight, man. And this is the season. This is the season. God has given us COVID-19. People prayed for it. People prayed for God to go through and bless them. They didn't see how God was going to wrap that blessing around, but it came through COVID-19. COVID-19 came through and actually washed the slate clean for some people. COVID-19 came as a blessing of unemployment for others. COVID-19 came as the PPP loan for some businesses. COVID-19 came as a break for some that was working themselves halfway to death. COVID-19 came, but what are you going to do after this? Because COVID-19 is not here to stay. But if you operate in the kingdom, what you say will actually be your outcome.
Woo. That's great, bro. That's great. We appreciate it. We appreciate that. Great words.
Yes.
Great words. Now, you all always know I talk about like surrounding yourself by the right people, canceling out the people that just want to talk doom and gloom. At the beginning of March, when this stuff started to roll around, he and I were talking and we said, yo, this is going to be like the best year of our life. We didn't say, yo, I wonder if we're going to get sick. I wonder what's going on. We was like, yo, we're going to take the opportunity because you know what? We knew most people were going to contract.